Coinshares has closed their books for the first half year of 2022. And with me to discuss this, I have the CEO Jean-Marie Mognetti. Welcome, Jean-Marie.
Thank you for having me, Matthias.
So, your first half year EBITDA landed on 10.5 million sterling pounds. What do you think about these numbers?
So, to be precise, our adjusted EBITDA landed on 10.5 million sterling. It's a small difference. Look, if we look at the global macro context, we look at the price of digital assets over Q1 and Q2 who were falling down, and we look at the volume of trading on digital asset as well. These results are kind of in line with what could have been forecasted overall. What is not in line with what we could have forecasted is exactly the Terra Luna loss on USD Terra that Coinshares capital markets suffer from. This is a one-off and exceptional, well, not a one-off, it's more an exceptional loss, and we expect that to not occur again, but that was impacting our result for Q2 and H1. So despite this loss, we're still in positive territory and 10.5 million adjusted EBITDA.
Exactly. Okay, thank you. So what is your long-term strategy regarding asset management?
So when it comes to asset management specifically, and we're going to take capital market and consumer out of this discussion, then we want to protect and consolidate Coinshares number one place in Europe when it comes to digital asset management. And for that, we are keeping pushing on our innovation. We are keeping pushing on transparency, and we want Coinshares to become this one-stop shop for people who want to allocate in digital assets. We also want to reinforce our partnership with institutional investors and institutional houses like we saw in the past with the like of Nomura or Invesco. More importantly, Coinshares Asset Management has a very professional team, probably what is the best team in the digital asset sector when it comes to ETP and asset management. Our assets under management at the previous peak of the market was around 6.5 billion. And I think we should target to multiply this number by 5 for the next peak of the market.
So how do you see the market in general and in crypto in particular going forward?
Well, the market in H1 has been really suffering from this whole macro environment, which we could call a polycrisis. With so many, I would say, single elements which took in isolation, people understand and can appreciate. When you combine them all together, it creates this kind of uncertainty everywhere. So you get the war in Ukraine, you get the inflation, you get the China lockdown remaining until October. So you get plenty of small elements, plenty of elements which put together create this uncertainty. Now, crypto has not been saved from this uncertainty, and crypto has been on sale effectively for most of H1 and has been accelerated by also, I will say, the Terra Luna implosion and some pretty big player in crypto suffering bankruptcy filing or fire sale. So all that together painted the tape in a really red manner, which to some degree has pretty much been oversold. And July since has been a bit of a relief rally so far. So we hope the consolidation continue and we can see the market breathing again.
Coinshares is talking about financial discipline. Are you considering reducing your workforce?
So we talk about financial discipline in terms of like we want to make sure we are cost conscious and we're not becoming complacent. It's very easy in a bull market to be complacent and to start spending money because you want to grow fast. We want to have a strong control on this cost. When it comes to our workforce, we didn't really grow our workforce in a out of control manner. We really trying to grow in a very cost conscious manner and trying to add the right people to the team. So at this point in time, there is no consideration for reducing our workforce. There is only consideration for making sure our costs are even more under control than usual.
Crypto and decentralized finance is heavily regulated and it varies a lot between countries. Where do you see the winds blowing when it comes to regulation?
Well, I don't agree with you with the fact it's heavily regulated. I think it's heavily commented by regulator, but it's not heavily regulated, and that's where lies the problem. It's like we have been at Coinshares a very strong advocate of regulation. We have started regulated, and we are still regulated. We have regulatory touch point in a lot of countries, and the last touch point we have is with the AMF in France approving us for an AFM license. So we really understand how regulation work, and we want that to be more developed. I think we're always going with the more saying on the regulatory side because we want our investors and clients to feel safe when they touch Coinshares product or invest for the long term with Coinshares. So it's a very key parameter of who we are to make sure regulation works. Now, we are fundamentally in favor of regulation because the counter argument of no regulation is over regulation. And what we can see is regulator mission is to protect retail investors. And if retail get hurt too much, then regulators step in and come in with a heavy shoe and decide to over-regulate. You can see that, for instance, post-Great Financial Crisis 2008, when there was no or very little regulation around mortgages, and everybody was able to have 2 or 3 mortgages in the US. And post-crisis, it became very, very difficult, and the industry was almost killed by over-regulation before being able to breathe again. So what we want to avoid for crypto is exactly that, a situation where we end up with too much regulation because we are over-regulating by fear rather than regulated with reason and with an understanding of what's happening. So we want to work with the regulator.
Okay. And did you receive any feedback from the French authorities when you were given the green light there?
In general, the regulators are not known for commenting too much on the decision. So I think it was you pass, and thank you for choosing France. It's not adding comments to that, but it's in the same vein as our relationship with FINMA when we got approved for the banking license. We are a shareholder in Switzerland, or for our relationship with the Jersey regulators. Like, we want to have good relationship and an open relationship where they can feel like we are there to help them as well understand what is happening in the ecosystem.
A recent news from you guys was that you announced a shared buyback in Q2. What was that? Why is that?
Well, I know it's a bit unusual on Nordic growth market to have a share buyback. Now, we are very conscious of what our book value is and where Coinshares should be trading. At the very least, as a tech-oriented company, it should trade at some form of multiple, and we are trading now at a discount of book value. It is a function of the market, it's a function of plenty of other factors, but we thought, indicating the market that we were believing in the long term of this company and doing a share buyback was a good indication for the market.
All right. One last question. Where are you with your uplisting process?
That's a good question. It has been an adventure. We closed our first part of the uplisting process at the end of June. And we are now gearing up toward the second part, which is the exchange auditor having a full review of Coinshares. So we hope we will be able to meet our deadline of end of the year to uplist on the main segment in Sweden. But at that point, all system goes, and we are just ready to keep moving and accelerating once our auditors are back from the Swedish annual holidays.
All right. So thank you so much, and best of luck to you and Coinshares, and see you again in 3 months.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Rick.
Thank you. Bye.